Hi everyone. Today Salesforce Consulting Admin Day, Training Day 22. So let's see what are we going to learn today. So we'll quickly go through the previous session. We'll talk about URL data type. We'll talk about email data type. We'll talk about Picklist data type. We'll talk about Picklist multi-select data type. And then we'll talk about the Geo Location. And we'll talk about the phone data type. And we'll take one use case. We'll do a use case and then we'll have a homework and today's interview questions. Now, quickly, what did we learn in previous session?
Fields, types of fields, standard fields, custom fields, data types, and properties of data type.
Right, so we have seen the data type, which is called text area long, text area rich, text area encrypted, checkbox, date, time, number, percent, currency. These all we have seen. Now, today we are going to see the URL data type. So URL data type is, for example, now let's take a scenario. Now, yesterday's scenario, which we are talking about the employee object. When we are creating an employee object, in case if I wanted to capture the LinkedIn URL, the employee LinkedIn URL, if I wanted to capture. So we need a URL field which can capture the URL. Right now, similar functionality is available on the Salesforce. If you go to the Salesforce, we have a field called website. So let's open the sales application. Sorry. So if you go to the sales application, if you go to the account and open the account and go to related list, we have a website. Website is the URL. Now, if I type www.salesforce.com, that means this is going to store the data in URL format. Like as soon as I click on this, it will open the salesforce.com. Similarly, if you want to implement this kind of a scenario, we have to go with data type called URL. So URL is basically this data type allow us to store the website name or a path of the application URL inside the field. And this data type, basically this is a website name will be represented in the form of hyperlink. Similarly, the one which we have seen, if you go to the account record, so this is showing as a hyperlink. And when you click on a hyperlink, the page gets open in the next tab. So the properties of this URL is field label, field name, description, help text are common. And we have a required checkbox for the URL. And then we have a auto add to customer report type. As we have discussed for the text, that is a similar. If you wanted to add this field to the automatically to the existing report. And next one is a default value. That is URL. And the next one is a email. So email is in our scenario, in case if I wanted to capture the email address. So employee email address, if I wanted to capture it. So which is like a @gmail.com or whatever is there. So basically email ID, email is nothing but the format for the email is, so it has an email name and then @ then you will have a domain name. You will have domain name. So if you mention the email name, just like cdca@gmail, this is not a valid. This is not a valid email, because after Gmail, we have to specify the domain name. So that means domain name is nothing but either it is a .com or a .co.in or .in, right? So these all are domain names like a gmail.com or whatever the yahoo.co.in or something, right? So we need to give a specified name. So what it does is basically email is going to verify whether the valid email is entered or not. If I choose a field called email, data type called field, if I choose a data type email, what it does basically, the format it is going to check. Whatever the user is entering the format in the user interface, is that the format is right. Like it has an email name @ and then we have a domain name. So if we have that specific correctly mentioned or not. So this everything is happened behind whenever I choose the data type called email. So that means this data type allows us to store the email address values inside the field, and it contains inbuilt validation. That means as soon as a user enter the information, it will automatically verify. So that is an inbuilt validation to verify email ID format while saving the record, whether the user has entered correct email address or not. So which is inbuilt validation. Otherwise, if the user has entered invalid information or it's not entered properly, then it is going to show an error message. So properties are field label, field name, description, help text are common. And we have a required checkbox. And then next one is a unique checkbox. If you wanted to make this email field is a unique, like every record should have a different email ID, then we have to specify the check this unique checkbox. Usually we see that whenever the MNC company in India, MNC companies are, if we are forwarding our resume to the MNC company, so if our email ID is already exist in the system, what they will ask is they will ask to give us some different email, because they have a email for each record. It's a unique. Each record, it's a unique email ID. So that's the reason if you are applying for the second time or more than one time, it does not accept. It says that this email is already exist in the system, so it will not accept. So we need to give the another email ID. And the external ID, in case if you wanted to store the third party information, which is related to the email, then you can use this external ID for the data type email. And next we have a auto add to customer report type. Auto add to customer report type. And the next one is a default value. Default value. Now next one is Picklist. Next data type is Picklist. Now Picklist are basically if I have a collection of information. Like for example, I have a country information. Let's say that I have let's assume that I have India, UK, India, UK, US, Singapore, Dubai, and Germany. So these are the some names we have. These are the list of names. These are list of names. So whenever user is For example, as soon as I create a pick list, what happens is on the UI side, it will give us the select country name is the label. Whenever the user land onto this field is going to display like this. So it will have so this is one pick list. So by default, pick list value is none. It shows always none. When we click on this drop down, we wanted to show this pick list values. We wanted to show this pick list values in sorting order. Right now, this order is not correct. I just have given this information. I have just given the information, but this is not in right order. So what we want is whenever user select this, whenever user click on this drop down, it should give us the list of pick list values, list of the values where user can choose only one value, So the first thing what it should happen is whenever I provide some information, now I have provided this information, but this is not in the alphabetic order. It's all zigzag order. The first thing it should happen on the pick list is it should convert this, whatever is there, it should convert into the, first it will convert into the alphabetic order. First, it should convert into the alphabetic order. So let's say that first it is a Dubai. So it starts with Dubai and then we have a list of information and then finally it displays the US. Dubai, Germany. Right? So like this, it is going to do the sorting order based on the alphabet. And then it's going to provide the sorting order pick list values to the whatever we have on the user interface. The sorting order is going to provide it here. So instead of this, I'll be getting, instead of this zigzag one, I'll be getting the values of sorting order one. So that means it is going to show me the Dubai first and then Germany. And India, Singapore, UK, US. So like this, it is going to display in the sorting order. Now, who will does this ordering? What are the order is there? So as developers will be providing the zigzag order here, the pick list values. Zigzag order, they will be providing it. But system should take this zigzag order and convert this into the alphabetic order. Once it is converted, then when the user click on that tab and when the user land onto this particular field, it should display, whenever user click on this arrow mark, it should display in sorting order. In sorting order. Who does this? This is done by the pick list. Data type pick list will be doing all this. Whenever we select a pick list, there are some properties where we have checking of the, if we wanted to do alphabetic order, then there is a checkbox. If I check that checkbox, it will automatically change the values in the sorting order and provide it to the this drop down whenever user click on drop down. Now, in real time, assume that pick list values, there are some pick list values. So let's say that country pick list is common. Whether you go to the account object, whether you go to the contact object, or whether you go to the lead object, or whether you go to the opportunity object, everywhere the country values are same. The country pick list values are same in all of this, right? In all of this, the country pick list values are same. Now, instead of creating a multiple times pick list values, Now, in this case, what I have to do, I have to create a country pick list value here. I have to create a country pick list here. I have to create country pick list here. I have to create a country pick list here. But instead of creating in every object, instead of doing into the every object, what I'll do is simply I'll create a one common. Simply I'll create a one common pick list values. I'll simply create a common pick list values, and then whenever I wanted to create in any of the object, that means in entire org, in entire Salesforce org, whenever I wanted to create a country pick list, what I can do is simply I can refer this common pick list value that I have created in the org. Instead of adding multiple times, I can create one field and I can tell that field to go and check in the common pick list values, what are the values are there. And tomorrow, if they wanted to remove it, anything from the pick list values, this is only one place. If I remove it, it will be reflected in all the places. If I add anything here, it is going to reflect everything, whoever is referring this global pick list. So that means what I'm doing here, instead of repeating my pick list values in every object, I'm creating a common pick list values. I'm creating a common pick list values, which is nothing but a global pick list. Global pick list. It's a global pick list. So that's the reason in the object, whenever we are creating a pick list, it will ask a option. Do you want to create? So it will ask a option, two checkboxes it will give. So the first one is it is going to ask, do you want to create a pick list from the global pick list? That means you wanted to use the values of global pick list values, or else do you wanted to implement your own pick list values? If you wanted to implement your own pick list values, then the second one is enter values here. So if you check this second checkbox, what is going to happen? You have to enter here, one box gets open. You have to enter your pick list values here. But if you check this checkbox, what it does, it will go and get the values from the common place. What are the global pick list values are there? From there, it is going to get that and store it into the account. You need not to enter manually. This is not required for the global pick list. Now, how do you create a global pick list? Let's go to the Salesforce. Now, click on the setup. Search for a global pick list here. Search for global pick list, which is a pick list settings. Search for a pick list settings. Sorry. So it should be pick list value set. It should be pick list value set. When you go to the pick list value set, there is an option called new button to create a global value set. So the navigation part is, in order to create this global pick list, the navigation is setup and just search for a pick list value so that it will give you the pick list value sets. Now, if you click on a new button, now when we click on a new button, it is going to first ask the label name. Label name. So let's say that I wanted to create label name here, country. And the values I wanted to give is India, US, UK, and Singapore, Germany, Dubai, Canada, Right, these are the options I have given in the zigzag manner. Now, if you see here, one of the checkbox, it says that display values alphabetically. Display values alphabetically. Now, that means automatically sort this in ascending order. Yes, I wanted to sort this in the ascending order. Now, second one is, by default, I wanted to show here some value. Now, instead of showing here none, right? Instead of showing here none, by default, what I want is whatever the first value is there, that value should display automatically without selecting it. It should display the Dubai here. That means whatever the first value is there, if I want the first value as a default value, then check this. Now, as this is a global pick list, and this pick list is used in a different places, so let's not use this. Now I'll click on a save. Now, whenever I click on a save, it says that the country global pick list value is created with the sorting order. With the sorting order, it is created. Now, when it creates the sorting order, now in case in tomorrow, if you wanted to add anything, tomorrow, if you wanted to add some more country names, you wanted to add. Let's say that I'm adding the new country here. Australia. Now, if I click on a save, what happens here? Australia will be displayed at the bottom. Australia will be displayed at the bottom. Now we have a couple of options here. Couple of options are there. New is nothing but in order to add the new pick list value, reorder. That means once I added the value, if I wanted to reorder this, because Australia should come on first. Now, if I say reorder, it will refresh it will ask, okay, select which one do you want. So I'm going to select this on top and click on a save button. Now Australia is going to display on top. Now, in case if you wanted to replace some values here. Now let's say that I wanted to replace. I'll click on a replace. Now it will ask which one do you wanted to replace. Which one do you wanted to replace? Let's say that I wanted to replace the Canada. Canada to the, let's say, Brazil. Replace. So what is happening if I give a new value? It's not taking anything. That means this replace is going to happen. Exact value changing from. So what are the value that I wanted to change? For example, I wanted to change the existing one. So the existing one, I have a UK. So let me take UK. From UK, I wanted to change it to Canada. So if I replace, your pick list replace job is in queue, you can check it is in the progress. So background jobs page. So something is happening at the background. Now let's go to the country. It takes some time in order to update. So that is the replace. And a printable view. In case if you click on a printable view, it is going to show you how it is going to print it. And then this is a chart color. Like if you assign a fixed color to all the values. Click OK to assign the fixed colors to all pick list values. Okay, so there is some issue with the chart. So this is a global value set. So global pick list value sets let you share the values across the object. Which are the object, whether you take a standard object or custom object. Which are the object you wanted to create a country, what you can do is you can refer to this. You can refer to this. So let's go to the object manager. So let's open the account. And let's go to the field. Now let's click on the new button. Now, if you take a pick list data type, now here it is going to ask whether you wanted to use a global pick list values or enter values. If you say global pick list values, then select the global pick list value, that the one which we have created. So it is going to show here. Now, if you select the enter the values, this is the one which is going to, that means you have to enter the values here manually. But if you wanted to take a global value, you can choose the global value that we have created, or the one which you are created. So pick list is this control allow us to select only element from the collection of elements. That means we have a collection of elements that are sitting there. We have a collection of elements which are sitting here. From this, you can select only one value. You can select only one value. So upon populating the elements, developer can set the default value. In case if you want a default value in the pick list, there is an option to check in order to make the default value. Now this is the pick list. Allow user to select the values from the list you define. Properties, field label, field name, description, help text is a common. And the next one which we have a values. So values is the one which is going to give us the two checkboxes. Either you select a global pick list value or you create a values manually. So if you select this use global pick list, it will ask you to select the name of the pick list. If you select this enter values manually, then the box gets open where you have to enter the values manually. And then below that we have a checkbox, which is arrange the elements in the ascending order. In case if you wanted to arrange that during the creation of pick list, you have entered the pick list values in the zigzag manner, but automatically I want the pick list should be taken care to sort that instead of developer spending a time on that. So whenever I click on a save button while creating the field, it should automatically sort the values and display that. And second checkbox is make the first value as a default option. In case if you wanted to make first value as a default. Now, the third one is a restrict pick list values based on the value set. Now, restrict pick list values based on the value set. What is this? This means, for example, right now we have this pick list, right? Right now we have India, UK, US, Singapore, Dubai. These details are there. Now, in case I'm creating a record through the programming, assume that I'm creating, there is a record in the object. We have a field which is a pick list field. Let's assume that account object. In the account object, I have a pick list field called country. Now I am creating this account record from the Apex programming. When I create this record through the Apex programming, right? So what I'll do, I'll say that country equal to So I'll say that country equal to, if I say here country equal to India or a US or a UK or a Singapore or Dubai or Germany, that's totally fine because these values are already exist in the pick list. We can give those values, but let's assume that developer is giving country equal to France. Country equal to France. They are giving the value here, country equal to false. Now, but this value is not available. This value is not available. France is not available in the pick list. Now, whenever the user is creating, whenever the developer are creating, whenever the developers are creating the like this, the country equal to France, which is does not exist in the pick list value. If we want, if the developers want, or if you want, we should not allow those values to create. That means these values, then after entering the country, I'll be giving here insert account. I'll be mentioning here insert account. When I insert from the programming, now it should check, the system should check the France is already exist in this pick list value or not. If it is not there, then do not create the account. If it is not there, do not create the record. So only create the record if user selects India or user selects UK or user select US or they select Singapore or they select Dubai or they select Germany. If they select any of these values, then only we should allow to create a record. Otherwise should not allow the record. For that, we have a checkbox called restrict the pick list values based on the value set. If any value which is coming, any value that is while creating through the programming or integration or somebody from the third party system, they are creating the record. Whenever they are giving the value equal to some value which does not exist in the pick list value, we do not want to create a record. In that case, check this checkbox. Check this checkbox so that it will not allow to create a record. And next one is a required checkbox. If you wanted to make this particular data type field as a required, select that. And the next one is a auto add to custom report type. In case if you wanted to add this pick list value in the existing report type. Now the default value is if you want any default value. So that's about the pick list. Any questions so far? Okay. So let's move on. Next one is a pick list multi-select. Pick list multi-select. That means I have a collection of elements. Now let's suppose we have a, let's take a field here, another field. Okay. So let's take another field here. Select. Let's assume that we have a field called select hobbies. Select hobbies is the field name. And what I want is basically I wanted to show all the pick list values. Before, how we were having it, only we were when the user click on this arrow mark, when user click on this arrow mark, then only we should be able to see all the pick list values. Now, instead of this, instead of that, what do I need is I wanted to show all the pick list values. I wanted to show all the pick list values here. That means user should be seeing all the pick list values. User should be seeing all the pick list values here. Let's say that hobbies are chess, tennis, football, cricket, music, movie, browsing, or shopping. So these are the pick list values that I wanted to show them by default. That means this is available fields. This is available hobbies. Available hobbies. Now, on user interface screen, on the user interface, I wanted to show this. And then here we'll have another box which says that selected hobbies. It says that selected hobbies. Now, in the pick list value, in the system, these are the values which are available. These are the values which are available. Now, you can choose which one you wanted to select it. You can choose which one you wanted to select. Let's take that here we'll have a add. This is the add button. And this is the remove button. This is remove button. So this is add button and then below one is below. Okay, so on top we have a add button and this is a remove button. Now, whenever user log into the, whenever they are creating a record, this is how it displays the multi-pick list, which is pick list multi-select. This is how it is going to display on the user interface. This is how you are going to see the multi-select pick list. Now it will show all the values, whatever the hobbies are available, everything is I can see here. Now what user can do is user can select this. They have to select this and click on the add button. When they click on the add button, it is going to move that value. So it is going to move that value. As soon as I click on here add button, it is going to move to the selected hobbies. It is going to move that to the selected hobbies. Similarly, not only the one, you can select, for example, I wanted to select football and music together. You can select football and that means multi-selection. You can select that multiple values and you can drag that information. You can drag that and place it into the, by clicking on this add button, it will be moved to the selected hobbies. From the available hobbies, it will go away. Now, as soon as if you select something, now if you say here, I'm selecting this and I'm removing it. So immediately it will go from here and it will be back to the available hobbies. So like this, we will be selecting on the user interface. Now there is an interview question that they are going to ask is, in the table, whenever you are selecting the multi-pick list value here, multi-select pick list, whenever you are selecting, that means we have a multiple values which we can select it, which we have multiple values which can be selected. Now, how this data is going to be stored in the database? Let's assume that you have a, in the database, in the object, you have a field called hobbies. Now, how these values are going to store? Is it going to store like line by line chess, cricket, and music? Like this, it is going to store here in the each row. I'll be having a one value. No, it won't be storing like this. So they will be asking that how your data will be stored in the database when you select a, when we use a multi-select pick list, how the data is going to store in database. So the data is going to store in the database in one line. It's not going to store in the multiple lines. It will store in the one line, but you have a separator which is called semicolon. Which is called semicolon. So by using the semicolon, all the data gets stored into a single record. So every value, whatever the values you are selecting by clicking on the add button, those values are keep on storing it in a single. After the first one, immediately it will store the second one, then immediately it will store the third one, just by separating the semicolon. So the data will be stored in the database in the form of semicolon. You take any multi-pick list value, any multi-select pick list. You take any multi-select pick list. This is the format how it is going to store in the database. So in the database, it will be value, semicolon, chess, semicolon, cricket, semicolon, music. So this is how you are going to see the values in the database. And whenever you are doing the retrieving the data, what will happen in between? In between, I have some logic here. It will get the information from the database and it shows here step by step. It will not show a semicolon separated. In the user interface, you cannot see semicolon separated. It will bring the data and it will pass it to business logic. From the business logic, before the semicolon, it shows in the first line. After the semicolon, whatever the value is there, that goes into the next line. And after that semicolon, whatever the value is there, it goes into the next line. So multi-select pick list is this control allow us to select multiple elements from the collection of elements. That means I have a flexibility of choosing the multiple values. Now selected elements will get resides inside the column or a field by appending the element with the help of separated called semicolon. So all the values, whatever we have selected if we have selected more than one values, everything will be stored with the semicolon. That means it will append the first element and second element just by separator called a semicolon. So similar like a chess, semicolon, movie, semicolon, music, semicolon, reading books, then we'll have a semicolon here. And the properties are field label, field name, description, help text is a common. Now we have a values as we have seen in the pick list. Similarly, in the multi-select pick list also you have a values where it is going to ask, do you want to use the global pick list? If you say yes, then you have to choose the global pick list value name. And if you select this, enter values manually, then you have to enter the pick list values manually in the box. And then we have a checkbox called arrange the elements in alphabetical order. So basically, if you want the pick list values to be in the order, right? So what are the values you have given here? It might not be in the order. So if you wanted to, before user select and doing anything, I wanted to sort this in the sorting order and display here. And second checkbox is use first value as a default value. So in case if you wanted to show the first value as a default as selected hobbies, so you can select any value there. So checkbox restrict the pick list values based on the value set. So for the multi-select pick list, by default it is true because we usually does not allow the anything value which is coming out of this pick list values, we should not accept in the Salesforce. And number of visible lines, how many visible lines you wanted to display in the box. So if you have a more values, then there will be a scrolling bar will be there. And then required checkbox, whether you wanted to this particular data type, multi-select pick list data type. If you want a checkbox, if you want this box as this field as a required, then you can select this required checkbox. And next, auto add to custom report type, as we have discussed, then default value. That's all about the pick list multi-select. Any questions on the pick list and multi-pick list and global pick list? Okay, so let's move on. Next data type is geolocation. Next data type is geolocation. Now, geolocation is used usually for a Google map. Now, if you wanted to go somewhere, or if you wanted to order, like for example, let's take a Swiggy. If you wanted to order something in the Swiggy, or you wanted to go somewhere. So what you will do, you will open up the Gmap and then you select current location. You select current location. Sometimes what happens is, in the Swiggy or any other app, if you select a current location, right? If you give the current location, what it happens is automatically it will pick up, the mobile will pick up automatically your current location. By default, it will take some data there. Or in WhatsApp, whenever you are doing the live share, location live share, whenever you do this, what will happen? It will automatically pick up where you are. So how this is going to pick up the information? We have a something called latitude and longitude. Latitude and longitude. So based on these two information, it will automatically captures your current location. So wherever you wanted to go, whether if your scheduled appointment is there, if you wanted to go that place, like whenever you do the mapping or a location, sharing a current location, live location, or sharing this, whenever you are first time you install the Swiggy, take the current location, automatically it pick up the location. Right, so these all, everything is captured based on the latitude and longitude. Similarly, in Salesforce also, we have a concept called, both these two, latitude and longitude, both will be there in the geolocation data type. When you choose this geolocation data type, what will happen is, with this, automatically we will get an option called latitude and longitude. So geolocation is, this data type allow us to store the geographical coordinates of the specified location, that is latitude and longitude values. So why we need it in the Salesforce? In Salesforce also we have a scheduled appointment, right? So workflows are there. If I'm building an application for the hospital, or if I'm building an application for the inspection, so what happens here? So in case if the doctor appointment is there on certain hospital, so he doesn't know, the person does not know how to reach that particular hospital. So in order to provide that, so what we will do is, we will block the doctor calendar and we will send the invitation to him. So he can, while sending the invitation, what we will do is, we will attach the map. We will attach the map to the calendar, so that it will be automatically, when the doctor opens up the calendar, in the calendar invitation, he can see the map. And when the person click on the map, it will automatically direct to the person to reach to the hospital. So properties for the geolocation are field label, field name, description, help text is a common. And then we have a latitude, longitude display notation. And then we have a required checkbox in case if you want this particular data type to be mandatory, then required checkbox selected. Auto add to custom report type, default values, these are common. Now this is about the geolocation. Now the next one, which we have a phone. phone is basically to track the phone number, right? So whenever we are entering the phone number, employee phone number, the use case is I wanted to get the employee phone number. So when we go to the contact field or when we go to the account, or when we go to the contact, what will happen? We have a specific field called phone. So whenever user enters certain number here, automatically I want the number to be qualified. So it should be, data type should be phone. So in those scenarios, if you wanted to use the phone, then use the phone data type. This data type allows us to store the contact number, phone number on the of the people on the object. Basically, if you wanted to track the phone number, and properties are field label, field name, and description. Help text is a common. Along with this, we have a required checkbox. If you want to make a required, auto add to custom report type, default values, these are common. And let's go and see one of the use case. We'll do the practical now. So use case is create a custom object with the name position. So the use case is there is a XYZ company, or let's say that CDCA. So we have a CDCA company. In the CDCA company, we have some position open. We wanted to open the position. That means we wanted to hire certain people. So we wanted to open a position. So whenever we wanted to open in the company a position, first thing is that either manager or a HR team should fill the details of the what kind of a position should be open and when it should be open and what are the locations that this position is open. Let's suppose CDCA company is there in India and in UK and US, okay? Or in India, let's take in India, we have a CDCA in different places. Let's say Hyderabad, right? Vizag and Bangalore. So we have this company is there in different places. Noida. We have this company in the different places. Now we need to understand before opening up the position, we need to understand this position. Where is it required? Does this position need in the Hyderabad? Does this position need in the Vizag? Does this position need in Bangalore? Does this position need in Noida? And what is the experience level that we are looking at? And what is the minimum pay? Everything I wanted to capture. So for this, I need an object called position. So this position is to store open position or a job information in the object. So in case if I wanted to, let's assume that I have created a position. Now, when I have created the position, now I need to create a few fields because I need to capture some more information about the position. Some more details about the position. So what are the fields? So fields required are position name. Now, when you say position name, what type of data type it is? What type of data type it is?
Text.
But do I need to create this field?
No, ma'am. It is like auto-generated.
Auto-generated whenever we create a object position. That time if we select a text, there are two values are there in the pick list. While creating the object, we have a two options. It will ask, do you wanted to create a text field or do you wanted to create a auto number? So if you select a text field, automatically the field name will be populated position name. If you say auto number, so there is some number which we have to specify it in. Like if you wanted to start with a 001, like this is the auto number which will be automatically created. So right now we are going with the text so that the field gets automatically created. So that means position name is standard field. Position name is standard field, which is automatically created whenever we create a object, whenever we create a custom object. Next one, location. So I need a location to track. So which location? That means, is this position is open in Hyderabad? Is this position is open in Vizag? Or is this position open in Bangalore? Or is this position open in Noida as well as the Vizag? Or this position is opened everywhere? Which data type do I need to use it? Which data type I need to use it? I need, this is a multiple values. I should have a multiple value selection. Now,
Multi-picklist.
Picklist.
select.
Multi-picklist.
It should be multi-select pick list because the positions are open either in here, either here, either here, either here, or it is possible that same position is open in Hyderabad and Noida. Sometimes same positions will get open in Hyderabad and Noida. In that case, better to create a location field in the multi-select pick list. So let's take this field as a mandatory. Now, next one is a number of vacancies. What type of a data type it is?
Number.
Number, because we need a how many positions are getting open. So let's take a, this is also mandatory, whether 2 positions are open or 3 positions are open. Now the next one is position status. So position status is like if we have a cycle. So whenever we create a position, that time the status will be new. And whenever this we are recruiting, the company is recruiting the members, like it started the interview. So that time it will change the option to the progress. So the next life cycle status is in progress. And then in case if we have completed the interview process, but it is going to take some time. Maybe it takes a month to decide it, or it might take 2 months or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So in that case, we will say that on hold. We will say that on hold, or possible that we have selected the person, but the person is on hold. We know that which person we have to recruit, but little bit confusion whether we should pick this person or this person. So that means we will keep it as a on hold. So once we finalize the person, that means this position is closed. This position is closed. So these are the different pick list values. At a time, I wanted to select only one value. I don't want to select multiple pick list values here, because at a time it will go through the only one. And the next one is open date. What type of data type it is? Basically, I wanted to capture the when this position gets opened.
Date.
Date.
Date data type. Milestone is basically how many days do I want to keep this position open. Now we wanted to recruit, we are getting some new project. We wanted to recruit some 6 members or 7 members. So in that case, company will tell that open these positions till April or till May. Till May continue this recruitment. So that is a milestone date. So what is the data type here? What is the data type? Date data type. So let's keep it as a mandatory. And then minimum pay, how much we are going to pay the amount. How much salary are we going to pay? What is the minimum pay when we recruit it? When we have a dealing with the person, from where we should be starting it? What is the data type here?
Currency.
Currency data type.
Currency data type. Maximum, let's give it as a 7. And maximum budget, how much we can go up to the up to till what we can go upper. So if the person is not agreed, how much we can give, how much percentage or how much salary can we increase it, or the budget. So this is also currency. And let's give another one, email ID. Now I wanted to capture the HR email ID. So basically, whenever we are creating this type of a record, we want one person to be tracked here. So if I wanted to capture the HR email ID, what data type should we use it?
URL.
I wanted to capture the email ID.
Email, ma'am.
Email, let's keep it as a mandatory, and then HR contact number. For safe purpose, I wanted to get the contact number, HR.
Phone, ma'am.
Phone. And then passport required. I need to get the employee or whoever is joining the company. So interview process is done. And whenever the person is about to join, we need to get the passport details of that person. So I wanted to check whether the passport is that person is holding the passport or not.
Checkbox.
Checkbox or checkbox. Now, is this person is ready to travel in case if we have a US visit or if we have to travel some different places, is that person is ready to travel or not?
Checkbox only.
Checkbox. And then position department, position description. So we need a little bit more information about the position, like what experience level are we looking at and how much level of experience are we looking at?
Text area.
Text area, or let's say that when I'm taking the position description, I wanted to highlight the certain values like skills or years of experience. I wanted to highlight while entering the data.
Text area rich, ma'am.
So let's take a text area long. So skills required will go for a text area rich. So this is the use case. Now in case if you wanted to create, so let's go ahead and create this use case. Now first thing is that we have to create a object, position object. So let's go ahead and create a position object. So what are the steps to create a position object?
Create. Custom object. Custom object.
Okay. What is
Position. Position. Positions.
plural name?
Positions.
It should be S, adding the S. And here is a data type. If I say text, automatically the name should be displayed, position name. And the auto number, if I select the auto number, it will show 2 fields here, which is a display format. Which format do we want it to display? Like, let's say that if I wanted to display the format of 000, and then from which number do I want it to start? If I wanted to start with 1. So this is automatically captured from the Salesforce. For in our case, we need a text. Now, these all we have discussed. allow reports, allow activity, allow charter. And then let's add the notes and attachment, and tab also I'm attaching here, allow for search, deployed, click on it, save. So once it is saved, it is redirected to the tab. Now we have to choose a icon for the position. Let's take hands. Okay, click on next, and default on for everybody. Click on next, and then custom app. Let's include this. Now our object is created with position _ C. Now, for creating the custom fields, we need to go to this. The steps are, there are two ways we can create a custom fields. The first one is by using the object manager. Second one is by using the schema builder. By using the schema builder, we can create a field. So right now we are going to focus on how to create a field from the object manager, and later we'll see the schema builder. Now using the object manager, you go to the setup and search for an object manager, click on an object manager link. Then you will see the object called position. And then click on that position object, search for a position and select that position. And there is an option called fields and relationship. Here we have an option called fields and relationship. Once we click on a fields and relationship, there is a button called new. So this is the new button. This is the new button. So when we click on a new button, the first screen it is going to choose the field type. Choose the field type. So that means we need to choose the field type here. We need to choose the field type. What is the first field that we need to create it? What is the first field?
Position name.
Position name we have already created. Location.
Location.
Sorry, location.
It should be location. So let's take this. So we have to choose the field type, which is called as a location. Location is which data type? Location is which data type?
Multi-Picklist.
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 Picklist multi-select.
Right. So click on next. So we clicked on a next button, and then it will go to the second screen where we need to enter the details. What details we need to enter? We need to enter the field label, name, description, and help text. Whatever the required fields are there, we need to enter all those information. And then we need to select the required checkbox, and we need to required checkbox, unique checkbox, what are the values are there. So this is second screen, enter the details. Here I'm going to give a field name is a location, and then I'm going to enter the values here. Let's say Hyderabad, Bangalore, Vizag, Pune, Noida. So these are information which I'm selecting it. Now while creating the pick list field, now here is a checkbox which is going to ask me alphabetical order. So I'll say yes, use the first value. Now I do not want to use the first value. Restrict the pick list, yes, restrict it. And number of visible lines, because this is a multi-select pick list. So the number of lines should be displayed 4. And then we have a location. And description, if you wanted to add here, this field holds the different location names. And then, is it required? Is it required? Yes, it is required. So let's check this required and click on the next button. The second screen is done. Now I'm clicking on the next button. Now the third step. When we go to the third step, establish field level security. Establish field level security. Now, while creating the field, in case if you want to give a permissions to the specific profile, let's say that if I want to, this particular field should be visible to everybody or not. This particular field is visible to everybody or not. Or check everything. If we want everybody to be visible, we can check that. But in the real time, we do not check visible here. We check only for the few members. We check only for the few members who are the really needed only. We'll select only for them and click on next button. When we click on a next button, the fourth screen is add to page layout. Add to page layout is nothing but add to the user interface. Add to the user interface. Right now, if you go to the user interface, so that means, let's refresh here. Now we have a position. So when we click on a position and click on a new button, right now user interface shows only the two fields. One is the position name, owner name. Now I want that field to be, what are the field that I'm creating here? That field should be displayed below the position name. The field should be displayed below the position name. In case if I want, then we have to select that checkbox. We have to select the checkbox, which is called position layout. The layout, what are the layout is there? So this is called the information. The information. What are the information you see here? This is called page layout. We will discuss that after today's topic. So we'll have another topic where we are going to discuss the page layouts also. Now here in this case, if I wanted to add it, so we will select that, go ahead and add this field to the page layout and click on it, save. Click on it, save. Now the new one, which is called location, is created. Location is created with __C. And then the data type is, it says that Picklist multi-select. It says Picklist multi-select. Now, if I go to the user interface, click on a refresh. Okay. Sometimes it takes time to reflect here. Now click on a new. Okay, still not coming. Let me log in Edge. Okay, I think now it is going to reflect. We click on a new button. Still, it is not displaying. Okay, so it's taking some time. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and create it, other fields. Okay, so what is the next one which we have? Still, it is taking time. Okay, here it is, the location. So how we have given while creating the location, we gave the Hyderabad, Bangalore, Vizag, Noida, Pune, like this we have given, but it is auto sorted. Now I can select this and I can click on add. Now I can select multiple options here. How can you select the multiple options? You need to hold the shift and select this. So select one and on your laptop, hit the shift button and then again select it. Right? For example, if you wanted to select everything, shift everything. Let's assume that you wanted to select Vizag and Hyderabad. So in that case, select this. Okay, then click on a control button in your laptop. If it is a Windows, control button. If it is a Mac, if it is a command button. Hit the command button, then select it. Then what will happen? We can select multiple options. Similarly, here also, if you wanted to select anything, click on the control button or a command button and remove it. So this is for the adding and this is for remove. So this is how the location will be visible. Now let's go ahead and create another fields. What are the other fields which we have? Number of vacancies. So let's create a number of vacancies. What is the data type for number of vacancies?
Number.
Number.
Click on next. Step 1 is completed. Now it is going to the step 2 and say number of vacancies and how much is the digit that we were expecting? How many vacancies maximum? How many digits will be there? Maximum 10 position might be open, right?
Two
So that
digits.
means length is 2. That is more than enough for me. I don't need a decimal here, but for the numeric, I just need a length. So number of vacancies, description, and if you wanted to make a required, okay, click on next. Then go to the next. These all should be added and again click on it, save and new. The third one is a position status. Position status is what data type?
Picklist.
Position data type, position is Picklist. Now let's see. Position
Position. Status.
status. And we'll give the values new, in progress,
On hold.
on hold, closed.
Closed.
Okay, I don't want the sorting order for this because the format should be displayed like this only. I do not need an alphabetic order. By default, I wanted to use the first value as a default value. And next, click on the next button. And click on next. Save and new. Again, it will go to the step 1 because we have to create few more. One is a open date. Open date is date data type. Click on next. Open date. Now, in case if you wanted to add a help text, enter the date, enter the date. Let's say that when position should be open. Now click on next. Now click on next and then save and new. And then we have a milestone date. Which is a date. Click on next. So milestone date, which is mandatory, click on required, click on next. Click on next and click on next and save and new. And after that, we have a minimum pay. Minimum pay is what is the data type?
Currency.
Let's click on new. Minimum pay, maximum 7. Let's take the 7. And let's keep it as it's not required. Click on next. Visible everybody. Click on next. And then save and new. Next one, we have a maximum budget. Currency, click on next. Maximum budget. Let's go for 8. Help text, maximum salary, range. It's required. Click on next. Visible for everybody. Click on next. Save and new. Now, once you create all the fields, for example, that you forgot to make a required one of the field. Now, in case these are the fields right now we have created. After creating the field, I did a mistake. I did not add a required field for, let's say, that milestone date. Now, what we will do is you can directly click on this and you can edit and you can modify the field. You can modify the field here required and click on a save button. Click on save button. Now, in case if you wanted to change, right now, milestone is a date. But let's assume that milestone should be date time. It should be date time. In case if you wanted to change the field type. In case if you wanted to change the field type, that means data type, if you wanted to change, click on the edit button. Here we have an option called change field type. If you click on a change field type, it will take you to the step 1, where you can select which data type that you wanted to select it, select that, click on it next, then you have to go through the step, because just cross verify the one which whatever you are creating it, just cross verify, is it valid or not. If everything is valid, click on a save button. So this is how we are going to create a fields in the real time. This is how we are going to create a real time. Now, how this screen is going to look like, let's refresh. Click on new. Now here is location. This is the location. Number of vacancies. See here, whenever it says mandatory, whenever we check that required, so immediately it is showing me here the mandatory, the star mark is showing here. Now help text, if I add a help text, it is going to show like this, I. So beside the field label, it is going to show the I icon. So if I hover it, it is going to give me more information of that. And the date is automatically showing the symbol here. And the position status is, I can select by default. We have selected as a default value, we have taken as a new. Otherwise, default value will be none. While creating the pick list value, while creating the pick list field, we have selected the default value. We told them to take it as a first one as a default value. And the maximum budget, now we have a help text, which is showing here I. Now this is how by default it is going to add the values. By default, it will add the values to the page layout. It doesn't do the formatting of automatically. Like when you add the field, by default, it comes and sits into the, in this, below this, below this, below this. That means in the left side, it's keep on adding it. It doesn't do the formatting like first field should be display here, second field, now number of vacancies should be displayed here, then the position here, then open date displayed here. It automatically Salesforce does not do. It's the developer or admin work. You frame your page layout. You frame how you wanted to display the data, frame it yourself. So Salesforce has given a flexibility to modify how do we wanted to make a changes to our page layout. Now we have a few more fields that we have to create it. Let's go ahead and create. So HR email ID, HR contact number. Now if I create these all fields, what is going to happen? It is going to display in the left side. So here it is going to display. Now it will not be displayed this side. It won't be displayed this side. So let's go ahead and create those fields also. One is a HR email ID. So HR email ID is which data type?
Email.
Email. Click on next. So HR email ID required should be unique and click on next. Now, if you observe here, by default, I cannot edit this checkbox. By default, for few fields, whenever I'm creating for the few fields, this is not enabled, right? So what it is saying that select the profile to which you wanted to grant the edit access to this field via the field level security. This field, because in the profile, when you go to the profile, we have a separate section called field level security. So when you go to the field level security, either you can edit or modify it, or you can remove it. Now, in case if you want few members should be only having the read-only access. Now, we cannot modify here. We cannot modify. This is only for the visible. This is only for the visible. The configuration is there. We'll see that later. Now, right now, it is only visible. I cannot edit this. I cannot make this read only, right? So let's click on a next button. So that means by default, it is visible to everybody and everybody can edit. All the profiles can be edited. All the profiles can be edited. Now, if I click on again the same email, so HR email, now let's say edit. When I say edit, and let's do the change field type. I'm not changing anything here. Click on a next and click on a next. Now, this time you see here, it is available to edit. For the first time, it will not allow you to edit the visible or a read only. But when you edit it, edit the field, once the field is created, when you edit it, that time you can able to edit this visible option. Now, if you click on your save button, whoever is unselected, they will not be able to see. They will not be able to see that. Now, whenever I say unique, whenever I select this unique and whenever I select required, what will happen? How you will be able to identify whether it is a unique or not? We have here one of the column called indexed. We have one of the column called indexed. By looking at the indexed, I can say that these are the fields which are a unique. Now, if I click on the sorting, I can say that these fields are unique field. These fields are unique field. These fields are unique field. And let's create another one. What's the another one? HR contact number. HR contact number, which data type? Phone data type. And let's create a HR contact number. And click on a next. And then click on next. Now for this field, it is available. For phone, it is available. Only for few data types, the visible and read only is disabled, not for the all. Like a email, it is disabled. And like a multi-select pick list, it is disabled. Right? Only for few fields, it is disabled. But if you wanted to make changes to that, go ahead and create a field first and then edit the field, and then you can make a changes onto it. Now, right now, we have created the fields manually. Right now, we have created the fields manually. Now, once the fields are created, let's assume that let's go ahead and create one record. Assume that we are done with creating all the fields. Now, do we have all the fields? No. Still no. Let's log out, log in back. Now let's go to the sales application. And we have a position. So let's go to the position. Let's create a new record. Okay, right now we have. So let's say that position is developer position. Developer position. And the position is open right now in Hyderabad and Vizag. Right now, the position is open in Hyderabad and Vizag. Number of vacancies, let's say 4. And position status is new. And when do you want to start this one? Probably from 27th March. What is the milestone? Milestone is till June 31st. Minimum pay, let's say some value here. And budget, let's say maximum, this is the budget. And HR email ID, let's give some email ID. HR contact number and click on save. Now, when I'm clicking on save, observe this. HR email ID, invalid email address. So email is, there is a inbuilt validation behind the data type email. If you give just @Gmail, it does not accept. You have to give a domain name here. Now click on it, save. Click on save. Now this is how the records get created in the system. This is how the record gets created in the system. Now we have some field which are rich text, the skills required. So let's go ahead and add the skills required. So what is the data type for the skills required? What is the data type for the skills required?
Rich text, I think.
Rich text.
Yeah.
So click on in next. Skills required. Now maximum I'll take 1,000 characters and click on in next. And then click on next. Click on save. Perfect. Now if I go to the refresh, it's added here. Now what I'll do is I'll edit this. And it is going to show me in the rich text format. It is going to show me in the rich text format. Now let's suppose I wanted to add. So I have taken some here. So top 3. So let's say top 3 responsibilities of the role should be bold. And that should be bold. And 5 years of experience should be highlighted. And maybe I need a different color there. And let's take a red color. Now, integration of a Salesforce should be underlined. AWS services should be italic. List any mandatory requirement of the candidate must be, right, this should be in the bold. And within this, I need this as a bullet point. Now, in case if I wanted to add an image, I wanted to add image. Let's take the image. I don't know what is that image. I should be having some image which is related to CDCA. Okay, so let's take this. The image exceeds the maximum size of 1B. Fine. So let's take any image. Okay. Okay. So this is Dreamforce. Let's click on a save. What happened? It did not save. Did I click on a cancel button or save button? Okay. Okay. So this is in the board. This should be bullet point. And this should be bold. And 5 years experience should be red highlighted. And the integration of Salesforce should be underlined. AWS services should be italic. That's fine. Okay, so let's click on and save. Skills required. Okay. So too large. Okay. Let me remove this. Okay. Some issue with the syntax or some issue was there. Okay, so this is how the record that we are going to create in Salesforce. Any questions so far on the field creation? Now, how to align this, we will see later, how to align this part, everything. Now, there is another option. Instead of creating the fields step by step, or instead of you creating the object, what you can do is, there is another option which is called as a custom object from this spreadsheet. You can directly load the object. You can directly load the object. So when you click on the second option, it is going to redirect you to the. So the first one is to create a custom object. The second one is creating the custom object from the spreadsheet. So that means you need to understand what are the fields are required for the custom object. First, place those fields onto the. First, place those onto the, what are the fields that are required? Basically, we need an object label name, API name, and allow reports, right? Those are options we needed. So based on that, you can select the spreadsheet. If you have a spreadsheet, you can directly upload that spreadsheet to the object manager. But cross verify once you uploaded it, is it perfectly created the object or not? Now let's suppose the record that I have created it. Later, the skills are getting updated. In this record, every time the skills required, somebody is making a changes. Somebody is making a changes. Now I wanted to track what was when it is created, what was before, now what is right now, is it the same or not? I need to track that history of that particular field. In that case, what you can do is go to the set history tracking. Go to the set history tracking. So when you go to the set history tracking, it will ask which are the fields that you wanted to track. Right, I wanted to track the skills required because every time it is getting changed. And also I wanted to track the position status. So during the position status, when it is on hold, if somebody is changing the skill required, so I wanted to know that information. Now, if you select this, what will happen? You can able to view history tracking for those fields. History tracking for those. Now let's refresh. Okay, so by default, history tracking, the option, the related list is not available. For that, we need to go to the page layout. So, okay, when we go to the page layout, we will discuss. But in case if you wanted to track the details, who is modifying it, when it is modifying it, and what was the before value, what is the right now value, if you wanted to know this kind of a history, then you have to go for set history tracking. Set history tracking. Okay, so the assignment for today. Create a custom object called customer demographics. Customer demographics with the below required fields and customize the layout. Layout we will discuss in the next time, but right now create a fields. Now the data model is, these are the field names like a customer demographic details. When you create an object, that time this field gets created automatically. Now create a first name, last name, date of birth, gender, residence address, permanent address. The first name, last name, date of birth is a data entry. That means user has to enter some value there. Whereas gender, user need not to enter some value there. They have to select it from the pick list. So it should be a pick list where from the pick list, they need to choose either one option. So wherever you see data entry, yes means user has to enter the data. If you see no or a blank value, that means user has to select it from the pick list. So these are the some of them. And then we have a temporary address, number of years in the current residence address, how many years you are staying in the current address, and residence number, user has to enter here, mobile number, user has to enter, residence owner, rented, or is it a owned or a rented, it's a pick list value, nationality, user has to enter here, PAN number, SSN number, national identity number, user has to enter. Now, out of this, the mandatory is number of years in the current residence address and then residence number. Next one is a home, another few fields which we have. Occupation type should be a pick list. Employment sector should be a pick list and it's a mandatory. Company name, data entry, user has to enter. Office address, designation, number of years in current employee, user has to enter the data here. Now the next one is number of dependent. User has to enter this, how many dependent members are there, number of dependents with the relationship details. So user has to enter the data here. And the next one is a policy type, preferred. it should be pick list and mandatory. Total policy amount preferred, data entry and the mandatory information. Number of years preferred, pick list and the mandatory. Product type requirement should be a pick list. Product category requirement should be a pick list. Number of years in current employee should be data entry. And the last one is type of policy. Which type of policy they have? Insurance provider, data entry, policy start date, data entry, policy expiry date, user has to enter and it's mandatory, all of this. Ignore these two, sum assured, death benefit, ignore these two. And for this, the trial head, very important trial head is Salesforce military trial head. I'll just paste it this one. Salesforce military trial head, it will have everything. So basically how your data and what is the object, everything you can see here within this. This will cover entire your main basic admin part. Okay, so that's all for today.